Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Van Helsing, Season 1, Episode 3. It's called Stay Inside. Full spoilers for the episode, as we always do. So, this one, it did a couple of things we were expecting to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were expecting, Vanessa to eventually cure the Doctor, and it made sense that it sort of built to that. Although I liked how they done it, because like she was reluctant, and I like that Vanessa had the instinct kick in to bite her instead.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun.
There's a nice little flip on that. Uh, Otherwise, though, let's start at the start. I really liked the opening scene.
The flashback almost.
The flashback, yeah, it was because obviously the character in the first episode, Flesh, he's the one who drinks Vanessa's blood and turns back into a human. And I didn't even realize it was him at first, because obviously the last time we seen him, he was covered, he's drenched in blood, and you can't really make out who he is.
Yeah.
But it's actually a flashback to when he was turned, and it starts on the other vampire. Who, by the way, I have never seen a vampire use a straw to drink the blood out of a human before.
I think it's a good idea.
I've never seen it before. Basically,
Sorry.
basically this vampire, he he's got this heroin addict, and he takes the top of the syringe out, and he sucks through the blood through the syringe, which I thought was unique. I'd never seen that before. But this is basically when the volcanic eruptions are all happening, and the ash cloud covers the sun, so the vampires can go outside, which is what I speculated was like that's why they became such a thing, like because for whatever stretch of time they could just go out all the time, and
Yeah.
chaos ensued. And that's what happened. And he bites the flesh, and we see that he goes home and kills his family, and that's how we cut to the title. But what I liked about that opening scene is I liked one, it had a good sense of pace. It didn't rush through it. It had a nice
Yeah.
build. There was some good camera work here or there. When the bad vampire who's going around biting everyone, like when he starts doing that, there's a nice shot from within inside the car where he's just killed the driver, and
Yeah,
we
it is
see,
good.
we see him like biting multiple people just through the windshield. My only complaint with that is though is I don't get why he's not drinking more of the blood. He's like biting them and moving on to the next
I
person.
think it's just he's just relishing the fact that he can be outside and doing this
Yeah,
so
I
easily.
suppose. Yeah, that's
It's
fair.
it's the sport of it and the enjoyment that he can rather than actually getting the blood.
Yeah, that's fair. And maybe he's actively also recruiting. Maybe he's wanting to build the numbers up a bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it just it occurred to me like why wouldn't he stop and savor and enjoy the full gallons of blood that each human being will give him. But
Mm.
especially now that we're in the back to present day, or I say present day, the future, present day for the show, and there's a shortage of humans. They're having to ration blood and stuff. I'm like, well, maybe if you'd have been a bit more,
Mm.
saved it a bit more at the start, you wouldn't be in
I
this
like how
situation.
like they're keeping them alive, and just
Yeah,
taking bits. It's quite sadistic, but it's good.
it makes sense though. They're essentially having to farm humans so that there's
Yeah.
enough blood to go around. It does make a lot of sense. The main,
Next comes the breeding.
yeah, true. Yeah, I'll have to get to that. Uh, so the main plot of the episode, otherwise though, we're back in the sort of the main base, the hospital where they're all held up with Axel and Vanessa and everyone else, and I like how it picks up from like the other side of Flesh waking up and realizing he's human, because we seen
Yeah.
it from his point of view in the first episode, and here we see it from their point of view as they hear the noise and go and see him. But we go through the episode and uh, there is some issues here or there. I did like the character of John, who's the hothead husband, who uh, you know, basically gets angry, and obviously he has a right to be angry early on in this one because the vampires do have his wife outside, and Axel isn't willing to give up Vanessa, and he even shoots his wife to make sure that she dies quick and doesn't suffer. Which I didn't have a problem with any of this in the idea of it. Like all of it was fine and it made sense. It just felt a little bit rushed, especially the way it was sort of there at the start, immediately happened, and the way John was immediately like wanting to throw Vanessa off the edge of the roof.
Yeah, it felt like, I mean, he did leave her behind. Like, he even says that Axel says that you left her behind. And it's like, it's just, it seems a bit of it's more anger than grief. And it's like, it doesn't understand shooting her, where that's what they've been doing for the past 3 years when someone's got infected.
I think there's not, I can even justify that by saying that he's acting out of his own guilt. Like, I can, you know, if I'm going to analyse it, I can say that that makes sense to me. But the problem I have with it more, though, is that the main problem is that he feels more like a 2D caricature of this person who's here for this plot reason. To give them this conflict. And then in this, you know, struggle that he has with Axel after he shoots his wife, they knock over the wind turbine thingamajig.
Yeah.
That's powering their lights and stuff, and that gives us the plot reason for the episode. Like, this is what we need to do now in the episode. We have to find an alternative power source, which leads to Axel and Vanessa, you know, venturing outside to try and get a part for their generator. All of which was fine. Like, I thought there were some good creepy moments of them wandering in the tunnels and things like that. None of it quite had the great pacing of the first scene.
No, I didn't. That was definitely the best part of the episode.
In terms of tension, it was definitely the best film part, certainly. But I did enjoy when he was underwater and she was like holding onto the rope, and we're sort of waiting
you
for it
just
to
kind of
get
see
attacked.
them coming out of the corners.
Yeah,
it's good.
and I was thinking, you know, Vanessa, there's a reason why you're meant to hold that gun with two hands.
Yeah.
She's just wasting ammo, just pumping it out all over the place.
And then she just kind of drops the gun, and it's like,
Yeah.
really? You could still hit him with that thing.
And I love how her tactic right now is to get bit and let them die. Which, admittedly, it's working, but
But like he says, for one or two, sure. When there's a crowd of them,
yeah, you're
how's
gonna
that
get
going to go down?
ripped to shreds or just imprisoned for life.
Yep.
Yeah. So, no, this wasn't as strong as the first one again, but I did like it more than episode 2 last week's.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
It helps that I'm very much into this whole Day of the Dead, like, you know, stronghold location where they're fending them off, and it reminds me a lot of that movie in the sense that we also have the Doctor now, who's probably going to start looking into what's going on and analysing Vanessa's blood and looking at things like, you know,
I'll be honest, I want to admit more of the cheesy vampire stuff.
you got a little bit of it. You know, we found straw drinking vampire again towards the end.
We did, but I wanted a bit more. Like, I just wanted to feel more vampire-y than zombie-ish still. Because even with the blood drinking, it still feels very zombie-ish. And that stuff is what firmly makes it more vampire for me.
Fair. It just doesn't bother me. Like, I'm happy if it's just a zombie show. Really.
Yeah.
But he does say at the end, go and get, you know, whatever lead vampire's name is. And so presumably he'll be brought into the fold soon.
Hopefully.
But no, I'm still enjoying. I really like survival stories like this, where we have to get apart, we have to venture outside, and the whole thing's dangerous. You know, we have to make it back, and you know, I like all that kind of setup. It can be bad if everything's just terrible, then it'll be terrible. But they're doing a reasonable job of it here so far.
Yeah, they are.
And I like that they're building an eclectic mix of characters as well, because now we have Flesh, who remembers being a vampire and has this like guilt over it. We have Mohammed, who is sort of like I wouldn't say spunky, but you know, he's a teenager who has a bit of an attitude, and we've got a deaf guy who seems to, like, in their friendship seems kind of interesting, like the fact that they're so close.
You want to know how they met and what happened with them.
Because he speaks the sign language that the deaf guy's speaking, and it's, you know, they seem to have a really interesting relationship. I don't really have a feel for the two female characters yet that are around, because
they've done nothing.
They had like one line of dialogue in this episode, so it's hard to get a grasp in them yet. But pretty decent episode.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay, that's Van Helsing, episode 3. Let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at @mild_fuzz. Keep watching TV, guys. We will see you next time.